Like many of you, the first thing that I do when I wake up is grab my phone. Now, it's not something I'm necessarily proud of, but it's become a bit of a habit. From there, I open Instagram and I find myself scrolling away, filling my mind with everything that's happening. And over time, this has slowly impacted the way that I think and the way that I approach creativity. And over the last few months, I've tried to find what exactly Instagram has done to my creativity, how I can get it back, and also try to find new ways to leave me feeling inspired. Creativity is directly linked to attention span. I have found that ideas usually blossom when attention towards a topic is sustained. However, over the course of the last few years, I have slowly found my attention span dwindling away. Reels are rarely longer than 15 seconds, and most of the time, I find myself only spending 1 to 3 seconds before I swipe away. And this is killing my attention span, and it actually shows through my work. I noticed that I was fixated on creating very engaging 5 to 7 second videos that honestly, they didn't really have much meaning. They lacked depth and they lacked any character development. I tried to make them visually appealing and constantly moving, nullifying any real character development and story. And I have noticed that likes, follows, comments will act as a reward system, and I will use that as motivation to create things that will kind of elicit that response, which again usually means fast-paced, really engaging, and lack of character development. Creativity is defined by the use of imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. Instagram is a copy and paste world. We are constantly jumping on trends with the idea that this will blow up and we might finally gain a following. Let's say your video does blow up and you do get a following. Your following is now based on a short form video that most likely had no original thought. And that following most likely won't engage in any real meaningful work you share. In fact, Instagram will reward you for keeping things short and also mimicking what others do. I remember spending a few months in New York working on a project with a really good friend of mine. We followed her as an artist in New York City. The premise of the video was how her art gives her a sense of peace in a busy city. However, my script writing and shot list and flow of the video were based solely on how Instagram users would react to it. The sound design was rapid and shots were quick, but overall the story was about peace and slowness in a busy city. If I had focused more on the piece of art itself and not the performance of the video on social media, it most likely would have looked different. Shots would have held longer and the engagement with the subject would have had more meaning and more depth. The goal is to gain followers and hype, not to inspire. I recently went to the theater and saw Sound of Freedom. When the movie ended, the entire theater was silent. Everyone was processing what they had just witnessed. Some were angry and others were sad, and the whole car ride home, me and my friends didn't say a word. When I got back home, I simply laid in my bed and thought about what I could do to help the problem that the Sound of Freedom addressed. The goal of the movie was to inspire change, to evoke an emotion that would lead to a response. And over time, I found that my goal when creating things was simply to gain an audience. The addiction of maybe this will go viral led me to create things that were only there to keep people's attention without creating a connection. And overall, I do believe that this is the gift of creativity, using some sort of medium to get someone's attention and then having them feeling inspired to take action on pretty much whatever you want them to take action on. Now, I'm not saying every piece of work needs to be super serious and cause inspiration. There is a lot of art that is there just to relax us, make us feel a sense of joy, or even laugh. I'm just talking about how Instagram has changed the way that I approach creativity. Which kind of leads me to, how did I fix all of this? Well, for starters, I'm trying to spend less time on my phone. I'm also moving all of my creative work onto YouTube. I have found that YouTube will reward long form content, and audiences will find themselves attached to meaningful work. For example, the video I just posted about feeling like you're falling behind, I've noticed that a lot of people have commented or sent me messages how this has impacted them, which is a stark difference from how the people react on Instagram. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this. I have just found for myself, I feel more fulfilled when I create more meaningful work that leaves people feeling inspired. Now, I know Instagram is used for a lot of creatives as a way to be inspired in creating new works, but I find that when I go to Instagram to find inspiration, instead of being inspired, I usually compare myself and feel just lesser than. So I use websites like Pinterest and iCandy as a stimulation overload. After spending a few minutes, I get off of them and I think about what I can remember and what stuck out to me. And over time, I found myself drawing back to those ideas that inspired me instead of copying them directly. But with all that being said, I do understand that the creative process is different for everyone. I would love to hear how you find yourself getting inspired and how you approach your creative journey. And I'll see you guys in the next one.